Maxwell, better be good.
There's been a bombing in the Middle East.
What?
I didn't think we could make the war in Afghanistan any less popular, but hey, even I can be wrong. We need a good news story from the Middle East, a big one. Get on with it. New girl band, Middle East tour. Maybe. No, maybe not. Project to introduce salmon fishing to the Yemen.
Oh, happy birthday, Patricia.
This has just become a priority project.
This thing is a bloody joke.
Get this man his salmon.
And the award for the most boring title for film that anyone could ever imagine goes to Salmon Fishing in the Yemen.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. That sounds more absurd than boring. Well, I mean, do they have salmon in Yemen?
They don't even get all the way through the title before I start to nod off.
I see that it stars Kristen Scott Thomas, so I nod off immediately when she's in a movie.
Well, it's one of those titles that I remember that week I had about 3 people ask me, like, so what are you seeing today? And I was like, some salmon fishing in Yemen? And they're like, what the fuck? Like, huh? You're going to go see that? I'm like, it's kind of my job.
It's my job.
Well,
asshole.
Please tell me it's not a documentary.
You're going to go suck dick at the Greyhound station? Because it's your job.
You
now
let
shut up.
salmon suck your dick. Huh? what? Fishy bastard.
God. And you know what? Fortunately, this was nowhere near as dreadful as the title suggested it was going to be. Not even slightly.
Yeah.
Not to say that we're dealing with one of the winners of the whole year here or anything.
Well, now,
but it's
I was sorry I had to miss it because it's directed by Lasse Hallström.
Yeah, who I generally really like his stuff.
I like a lot of his films. I love a lot of his films.
His films are rarely...
Cider House Rules and...
His films are rarely the type of films that like grab the whole world by storm, but they just have that just right amount of charm that if you're in the mood for them, they're perfect. I mean, the world noticed him with My Life as a Dog, which is a really solid foreign film, that sort of coming-of-age movie. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, of course, is where like America went, wow, we love this guy.
Yeah. Where you learned Leonardo DiCaprio. That was his introduction.
Big breakout.
I could have drowned. Yeah, I could have drowned.
I thought it was one of those ABC sitcoms, like Growing Pains or something that he was on first.
And then he did Chocolat, which is, for me,
that's right.
the high point of his career.
Right, because that came right after Cider House Rules. He did Chocolat. And The Shipping News, which I guess a lot of people saw or liked. I love that movie.
I never saw the movie. I thought the book was great, but it didn't do terribly well. It didn't do well at all in the theater. And that was actually kind of the downslide for both him and its star, Kevin Spacey, because that was like the big heralded Kevin Spacey coming off of like all these great films he just did a couple years ago, and now he's going to be in this Pulitzer Prize, big award-winning, but I don't remember what the Pulitzer Prize is. I can be a bit hyperbolic at times. No, but you're surprised to hear that.
The thing is, it's a really good movie, and Kevin Spacey's so good in it, but it's kind of a downer.
But unfortunately, this was really the last thing that he did of real note. I mean, there's films on here, like, I don't even remember. Did we see Casanova or An Unfinished Life?
Isn't An Unfinished Life like a romantic comedy, like a Katherine Heigl movie? Or
no, it's, it's got Robert Redford, Jennifer Lopez, Morgan Freeman.
Oh, we did see that one.
Did we see that?
Yeah.
But look how forgettable it was that you don't remember it all.
Well, I just remember it because it was like, oh, Morgan Freeman now has a new white best friend.
And you got Heath Ledger and Casanova.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I never saw
it. Yeah,
but
that's when nobody gave a shit about Heath Ledger.
I do remember The Hoax with Richard Gere, which wasn't a bad movie. But
I want to see that.
I don't remember.
There was just nothing that really is that memorable about it either. It's like, okay, I didn't feel like I wasted my time, but at the same time, I'm going to forget this by this time next year.
Yeah.
I'm seeing one movie there that's making me kind of upset.
Dear John.
Dear John.
And is that son of a bitch? Oh, yes, he is.
Well, like I said, his movies kind of stopped making money, and so it's one of those that they go, well, look, dude, you know what? If you want to keep making movies, you're going to have to make a Nicholas Sparks film.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you start hiring Channing Tatum to be in your goddamn movie, of course your fucking career is going to go nowhere.
But you know what? This new one is actually not the film that is going to break him out of this slump that he's in, I'm afraid. But at the same time, like those others, even Dear John for a Nicholas Sparks film wasn't the worst thing ever. It just wasn't very good either.
Okay.
Well, compared to the other Nicholas Sparks films,
which I've never seen any of those films.
Yeah. What, you never even saw The Notebook? Or
nope,
any of
that?
No, I've never seen it.
You guys are lucky.
I know Corey loves that movie.
Your souls are still intact.
I throw shit at him every day for that.
And this one is another one of those. It's a soft-spoken, like very human story that has very good intentions all the way through. There's nothing that you don't encounter much in the way of like real darkness in his films.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's about like people coming together and dealing with issues and overcoming them together. I mean, listen, they're all very human and they're warming in an intellectual way.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a lot of them just end up being forgettable for that very same reason. In this one, there's a scientist played by Ewan McGregor who has Asperger's. They make a point of saying it during the film.
Okay.
You can't miss it, really.
I guess I
it.
did. Yeah, I guess I did because I was like, wow, he's acting really weird.
So there's no point where he logs on to spill.com?
No. Well, they edited that out, I'm sure. Yeah. But he is basically a fishing scientist. He's a fisheries scientist.
That's some serious Asperger's.
Well, who else are you going to get? It's like somebody who obsesses over the microcosm of things.
That ain't Asperger's. He's got Rain Man.
Can I be a scientist of watching bullshit movies?
You are. You already are.
Am I? All right. Life just gets better and better for me.
Cinematology.
Cinematology. Productionologist or something.
But he ends up getting involved by force to a project that's being headed up by Emily Blunt, who has been approached by a sheik who wants to bring salmon into the Middle East, to the rivers in the Middle East. Yes, there is water in the Middle East. Let's just get over that real fast. Yeah. It's not like Mars.
Yeah. Well, not in that way.
Not in that way. Not in that way. But he is so rich. The idea that he has mansions, like just huge mansions in multiple places in the world. He's ridiculously rich.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I want to do this. I think it would bring new life to here. It would and give all these villages around here a new way to make money and feed themselves, and just generally, environmentally, if it worked, it would actually bring life in multiple ways to the area.
Okay,
which is you would think smart thinking, right?
Well, it would give him a nice hobby instead of blowing up shit all the time.
Exactly. Stop that. Ewan McGregor does not agree. He is like, this is the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard. Salmon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, stick to blowing up shit.
He's like, salmon are from cold waters. You can't put them in the Middle East because they will die.
Yeah.
Let's put sharks there while we're at it. Which is actually would have made a much better movie. Yeah. Maybe Asylum is going to
Why
make
not a penguin?
Shark fishing in Jerusalem or something. But he ends up getting forced into it, basically because the prime minister takes an interest in the story because they're desperately looking for ways for good press in the wake of some minor political mishaps.
Sure.
So he is forced to go out there and work directly with Emily Blunt to try and make this impossible dream happen. And
what a shame! He's forced to work with. Well,
he's married, and she's, I believe, and she's in a serious relationship with a soldier who had just left overseas.
And he ain't coming back.
Who has in fact just disappeared, presumed. MIA.
No. He's probably out there on the front lines, going, "Here, let me show you a picture of my girl. I can't wait to get back to her."
As it goes on, you actually get interested in seeing how this thing is going to come together. There comes a point where you're like, wow, this actually seems plausible now, as opposed to being on Ewan McGregor's side at the beginning of it. I don't know. I ended up getting kind of charmed by the relationship that he had with Emily Blunt, because she doesn't have anything wrong with her, but like I said, he is disturbed, but not in a disturbed is the wrong word. You know what I mean?
Well,
he has an
affliction.
He has an affliction that is hard for him to get along with people socially.
Oh, right.
I mean, and they make a point of letting it know he's difficult.
Yeah.
And they do eventually, they get to this point where it's clear that even though he's married, there's no love there, and that what he's forming with her, and even with the sheik as well, is this friendship that's actually really enchanting to kind of watch come together.
I'm a great admirer of the British, but still, there are mysteries to me. The rich are frightened of the poor are frightened of the rich, and even your politicians. They try to sound like the people on the East Enders.
Yes, the great British class system.
But fishermen, they don't care whether I'm brown or white, rich or poor, wearing robes or waders. All they care about is the fish, the river, and the game we play. For fishermen, the only virtues are patience, tolerance, and humility.
Well, the thing is that, for me at least, you had to get like halfway into the movie to really start getting these relationships, because the first half I was really bored. I was like, okay, because the first half I was really bored. I was like, okay, where is this going? Like,
No, you're right.
I know there's a lot of this fish talk and craziness. People want to do crazy things in the desert. All right, but where's this all leading up to? And what's the
salmon fishing in the Yemen?
Yeah, I was like, when are we going to get to this? Because it's like, because you're just sitting there and a lot of talk and a lot of nothing going on. But I mean, I tell you what, as soon as they start developing this project, and you start seeing the relationships develop between Ewan McGregor, the Sheik, and the love interest, Emily Blunt. I mean, it really starts to work. And it was like, I was starting to doze off at the beginning, but halfway through it, as soon as they got involved with these relationships and the project in itself, I was wide awake. I was like, okay, wow, this is like the energy boost I needed, because just what they were trying to accomplish. And the people who were against it, in the film, the guys who have nothing else better to do than to blow shit up,
there are indeed some terrorists.
And that's
go to stereotypes.
Yeah, I know. And the thing, hey, they're doing it. Nothing stereotype about that. But I mean, as soon as they introduced that there's a threat to this project, it's people with good intentions, but other people see it as like, you're fucking up our entire way of life. We don't do this. We don't believe in this. We don't believe in what you're doing, and we don't believe in this project. And you see these people like trying to like pretty much blow shit up. I mean, you get worried, you get concerned about these people, and it becomes really interesting and intriguing.
Well, ultimately the film's message is one of like, change is necessary for growth, and change doesn't necessarily come along because you just sit and do nothing and then God makes something happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, the idea of saying that, well, the moment man gets involved, something's unnatural, makes no goddamn sense. We didn't come here from another planet and interfere. We're part of the natural cycle of things. If we do something, it is indeed natural. It might be fucked up, but it doesn't make it unnatural. And these guys' point of view is sort of like, oh, that's so natural. God would have done this if he had meant for it to. And the same time,
well, if he's so powerful, then let's see if he stops us.
At the same time, like everything else in Ewan McGregor's life is very much just like in a rut, because he's used to patterns, he's used to regular things. He's married, he does what he thinks he's supposed to do, regardless of the fact that it's evident to any and all that neither one of them is happy in that situation.
Is Kristen Scott Thomas his wife?
Yeah.
Oh, that poor bastard.
Yeah, well, that's fucked up right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, she's not a bitch. She's just got her own shit going on.
Yeah. And out of the movie, the one thing I really didn't care for too much was this plot that they were kind of,
the side plot.
The side plot that, I mean, you saw that. You saw how that wasn't going to end up a mile away. It was like, okay, this is another one of those goddamn predictable, like, love triangle type deals where, I hope they don't do what I think they're going to do, and you're like, oh, they did it.
That's the biggest problem in this film is that, like, well, first off, as you said, it takes a while to get started, to where you're like, it's not till they all start, the three of them main characters start hanging out together that things pick up. You're like, oh, they're really funny together. It's cool to watch them. The project's actually starting to take place.
There's great chemistry there.
There's great chemistry between those characters. There's some funny dialogue. I mean, they make all that stuff work. It's just that every time it returns back to the stuff that reverts directly to what happened before, you're like, yawn. And as well, it does indeed go through several story turns and a few twists that you can see coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
They're just so blatantly obvious that this is what this story has to do to move along. And when it happens, you go, yup.
Very familiar. Yeah, I was like, okay. I do love the guy playing the Sheik. I don't know who that actor is.
Let's see. That was how do you pronounce AMR?
Amir.
There's no I. It's Armor.
AMR. We'll call it.
Waked. If we're going phonetically,
well, that guy does an amazing job in this film.
He is really good. In this film.
He's really good. The thing is, I really loved his character because he is the guy wanting to bring change to where it almost seems like an impossible task because of his religion and the people who are like, no, this can't happen. I found his character incredibly interesting. just because he was the guy. Like all his intentions were good.
Yeah.
And when you see people trying to bring him down, and you really sympathize for the poor guy. It's like, wow, he's really doing something positive. But there are these forces out there that are really going to go out of their way to make sure this shit doesn't happen. So, I mean, throughout the movie, you're worried about that guy.
Well, you just want to go like, hey, could you guys stop being shitheads for just 2 minutes and let me finish this?
It makes a statement about religious intolerance and saying, look, you can really love God and be very, very spiritual and religious, and which he very much is, and not be a fucking inflexible douchebag.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are saying it's hubris to change anything, and he's saying, I'm trying to help absolutely everyone here, which this would. What's hubris is you guys telling me that it wouldn't because God didn't write you a note saying it was all right.
He's the one guy that you meet. I think there's always been an aspect to his character that has always been, in all of us, where we see like where we're trying to convince other people, look, this is for the best. I think this would definitely do us all good. And people are going, no, you're wrong. That's stupid.
Co-host,
you can't help but root for the guy. I understand.
Co-host high school years, summed up in one sentence, and why he's never allowed in another science fair.
Yeah.
So you guys maybe not excited to see it, then excited to see it, then you lower my expectations. Where do you fall on it?
What would I give it?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
You want to know what I would give it?
You're sitting here
Nah,
reviewing it.
your Aunt Martha.
I figured I'd just ask.
You.
Well, I didn't know. Thank you for asking. I didn't see this coming. Well, I suppose, let me start from the beginning.
Oh my
no,
God.
I'm not going to. Well, actually it is kind of tough because there are a lot of things I liked about this film, and like this director's other lesser films, you never hate it. Well, except for Dear John. But you never really hate it at all, and you never really love it. You just kind of coast somewhere in the middle. You're with it. You're not bored on the whole, but you just can never completely grab onto it. And this is another one of those films that's not going to make any waves. That was not a fishing joke.
Can't grab onto it, make waves. This is all about salmon.
There's no puns intended in any of that.
I think you can't turn it off.
You can tell.
Even when you think you're not punning, you're punning.
That's probably.
Until somebody calls you out and you're like, no.
You
may think you're the wiser.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, I feel like I want to give it a matinee, but at the same time, it's just not quite worthy of one. There's so many great character things in chemistry, but that's really all that's super good here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a enthusiastic rental. Like, you should rent it. You'll like it. It's a good date movie.
Okay.
But it's nothing that you're going to want to go out of your way for in the theater.
All right. Well, if you're giving it a rental, I'm assuming co-host is giving it some old bullshit.
I'm gonna let you know that it is a rental, and because you're right. Because you're right. Yeah, no, it is a rental. The things that did work, it took too long for those things to work, which is unfortunate because the whole movie should have been centered immediately. They should have gotten right into it with the relationship between those three and this whole project. Because I mean, it picked up the movie for me, and it should have been the complete focus. And they didn't even really need to have that whole subplot love triangle thing going on. Because when you see it, it's too goddamn predictable.
Okay.
And the movie really didn't need it. So for me, it's easy rental. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, maybe it's that I'm just not a big fishing guy. I don't know. I like salmon.
Yeah, I know.
I like it when it comes in a wrapped package and it doesn't even look like a fish anymore. Especially when it comes in the preset patties and I can just put it in my George Foreman.
You know what, Cyrus? I need to introduce you to the world of wee fishing. Yeah, you don't have to do nothing but sit on your goddamn couch and catch your stupid remote. And man,
because you can't really eat it.
No, but who the fuck wants to eat
that's
fish?
what potato chips are
Exactly.
for. Come on.
Just eat a bunch of orange Cheetos.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. The salmon's orangish, right?
We'll go buy some goldfish.
This is a new one.
What's it called?
The Chetwood Talbot Beauty.
You're not being funny.
No, I don't have a sense of humour, as you recall.
That is true.